Hello, and welcome back for another episode of HunterTuned. Today I'm actually doing some remote auto repair. So I'm actually heading to some guy's house. He said that his brother hit a curb or something with his car and bent the lower control arm. So I'm actually going up there to see if I can help him fix the lower control arm that he's got. He's got a new one. He kind of just needs me to help him put it in. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And I'm just gonna head up there and see what we got going on. All right, guys, so I'm actually working on this Integra right now, and I just had to swap out the lower control arm. Pretty easy. Just gotta take the ball joint off, the shock bolt going into the frame here, and then the sway bar has to drop down a little bit, and then there's a bolt back here, a few other bolts, and there you go. There's your new control arm all on. And this is the reason we had to replace it, because this one is bent really bad. Dude hit a curb, so had to replace the lower control arm. Obviously, you can see it's bent. So there we go. We're all good to go now. Yeah. No, I don't got them.
Oh, yeah. I got that shit like 6 years ago.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, right when I had enough time to do
Yeah.
it.
This is a Type R, you said?
Yep.
Type R. Pretty clean.
Type R.
I love the color, man.
Yeah.
Very nice. You got the pearl in the paint here.
Yep.
Looks pretty nice. Is this BIS hood?
Yep.
BIS carbon hood. Matching mirrors too?
Yep.
BIS. Sweet.
And all the lips are the side on or whatever.
Okay,
you call it.
Sibon.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yep. And then my rear ring, my duck bill.
Oh, the duck bill. Yeah.
I've been trading, so
Yeah. I mean, super clean though, like down the body. Looks really nice, man. Yeah, he's gonna have me look at this Jackson Racing Supercharger for him, and we're gonna see if we can put this onto the yellow hatch here and supercharger. That'd be something different for us, and see if we can make it go a little faster. All right, guys, so I'm back home now, and this customer kind of told me to come up for him, and I put a new lower control arm on his Integra, and then kind of checked out some of his stuff that he had, because he wants me to be installing this Jackson Racing Supercharger on that yellow EG that I did a little quick walk around on. So I brought it home with me to kind of inspect it and see if anything is bad. It seems like the Supercharger has a little bit of play. I don't know if that's bad or not. I don't know a whole lot about these Superchargers, but I plan on learning a little bit and seeing what, you know, needs to be done for it to work good. But if any of you guys know, I would like to know if this slop in the pulley here is anything to be concerned about. I'll probably be dissecting this in a future video to find out what is good with it or what's bad, if anything's bad, and kind of how to install it. It comes with like a pulley for your alternator, which, you know, allows for 2 belts instead of just 1, and then it comes with like an idler and some other bracketry for the alternator and whatnot. So super cool setup. I'd love to run something like this on this CRX here. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but you know, I'm a turbo guy, so whatever. Supercharging is super cool though, and I would love to be a part of this. So yeah, hopefully I'll be doing his Integra as well. I may be doing an eBay turbo kit on his Integra for him he wants to do, and then do the Supercharger on that yellow hatch that you've seen. So that is freaking awesome. I'm super excited to be doing stuff like this for people, and I think I might have another project coming up next week too, of doing another turbo build on, I forget what kind of car it is, maybe a Civic or something with a B series, and we're gonna do a turbo kit on that. Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on and whatnot, but it sucks because the weather is super cold out. Like, I can barely stand out in the garage and film right now. It's that cold. It's you know, getting down below 0 again. So I think we're gonna take a break from car stuff for a little bit, and I'm gonna run and pick up the new PUBG game for Xbox One. I don't know if any of you guys play Xbox. I don't really play much. I play when it's, you know, the weather's shitty and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go pick up the new PUBG game, or Players Underground Battles, or whatever it's called, and yeah, I'm going to see how that game is. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Okay, so I am currently actually tearing apart this supercharger to just see if I can find anything wrong with it. I've never actually opened up one of these superchargers, so I'm kind of curious what it's going to look like and if I can see anything wrong with it. The customer kind of just stated that he wanted to make sure this was good before he put it on the car. So I'm going to give it a quick once over and kind of visual inspection before we go and put it on the car later. So first, I'm taking off I don't know if this is like the snout, but it bolts onto like the main unit right here. And I'm going to take that off and see if anything's wrong with it, because it does have a little bit of, play right here. And I just want to make sure that that's nothing major or anything to worry about. Alright, here we are. This is the the vanes or the fins that make that boost into the supercharger. And I can see here that this is really worn out. At least it looks that way. I don't know if you can see, but on the edges here, all this looks pretty worn out. I don't know if that will affect it or not. I'm not sure. There's a big chip out of this fin right here. As you can see, another chip here. Big gouge out of that. Like I said, I don't know if any of this is going to affect it, if it's beat up like this, if that matters. I don't know much about the supercharger stuff, so might have to do some research on this and maybe do some research with parts, if I can get parts for it and whatnot. You can even see inside the housing here that it's very beat up and very scratched up. Like I said, I don't know if that matters or not, but it does look pretty beat up to me. So it is the next day now, and I am actually inspecting the supercharger a little bit more. Because obviously I wouldn't want to put this on a car until I know that it's good. Or at least know that it's not going to really hurt anything. So I did inspect the fins and everything and the housing like I showed you. And I feel like the bearings at one time went out in this thing and the blades had play. But I feel like these bearings look brand new. Like somebody did replace them. So I don't know. I might just throw it together and see if it works. Obviously an ideal situation would be for you to replace these blades, this housing, all the bearings and everything. But to be honest, when you put a supercharger on a Honda, it's not really worth a whole lot of horsepower. A lot of times like this setup on a good setup would make maybe 50 horsepower, because it takes probably 50 horsepower to make 100 horsepower. So you get 50 horsepower in the end, to the wheels, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. I just verified this is for a B16 head, which my CRX has a B16 head on a B20 bottom end. So I might actually test this out on the CRX and see if it's good before I determine if this guy with the yellow hatch wants to use it on his car. I've already talked with him, and he kind of gave me the okay, like, hey man, go try it out. If you like it, you can have it. And if you don't like it, he'll take it back and he'll use it on his car. But honestly, I think with his car, I think a turbo kit would be better, honestly. There's not a whole lot of room in my CRX, so the Supercharger might be better for me. I don't know. We'll see. But, like I said, I've never played with one of these, so I really wanted to try it out and see how it works. Another thing with Superchargers that sucks is they generate a lot of heat. And when you're running pump gas, like what this guy wants to do, he doesn't really want to run E85. Running a Supercharger on a stock bottom end might result in a lot of heat on pump gas, and you could end up frying a ringland or melting a piston. So I think E85 supercharged CRX would be badass, and maybe nitrous on top of the Supercharger later, which would be really cool. I figured I'd try something different with this car because I've never really messed with EF chassis, and I know that this is totally like an out-of-the-realm thing for HunterTuned. I mainly deal with a lot of EGs, EKs, Integras, and do turbo kits on all those vehicles. Alright guys, like I said, kind of inspected the Supercharger, and the bearings look good, and there wasn't a whole lot of aluminum, if any, that was sitting in the housing. So I think that maybe the bearings had went out in the past and they are okay now because the bearings look new. So I think I'm just going to try to run it and see how it is. If it works, if it doesn't work, whatever. I'd like to try it out and know how to install one if somebody wanted me to in the future. Which I know I can, I just, don't have a whole lot of experience doing so, so I figured why not try it out on the CRX. So here's the CRX V20 VTEC. It's got the YCP 11.5:1 high compression pistons and CX Racing Chinese connecting rods that I cut off with a cutoff wheel. Go check that video out. But yeah, this motor's got about 1,200 miles on it so far, 8,500 pretty much all the time. So it seems like it's very reliable. Everything's good. So why not try to throw the Supercharger on? So to do this, the first thing I'm going to do is just take the intake manifold off, and yeah. So I'm going to start by taking the velocity stack off, and then my oil line, or not oil line, but my breather right there. Take that off, and take this off. I got to loosen that up. There we are. And I can start taking off a lot of the stuff that just connects to the intake manifold. So like throttle cable, the wiring, some of the coolant lines, the fuel rail, and yeah. Alright, so I just took the 3 bolts off of the fuel rail on the back side here, 310mm, and then the 7/8 fuel nut right here. And then there's this little star washer that goes on the passenger side of the fuel line, and then there's a regular washer that goes on the driver's side of the fuel line right here. Or on the, yeah. Got that off, and then I just took the return line off right here, and then the vacuum line that hooks up to the fuel pressure regulator. And this thing comes out just like so. There's my beautiful decapped fuel injectors from an LS truck motor. You guys haven't seen that, go check it out. And we'll set this off to the side. Next, I'm going to remove the throttle cable. This is kind of just a ghetto bracket that I had made that uses the stock CRX throttle cable. So I'm just going to take this one bolt out. And the throttle cable just wraps around and then pulls out right out of the throttle right there. Put that off to the side. Now next, I'm just going to unplug like the TPS here. Set that off to the side. There's the idle air control valve back here. And unplug that. We got a brake booster line that hooks up to the brake booster over there, and then to the intake manifold on the back. Some applications this may stick straight up or off to the side, depends on your specific application. So we'll take that hose off next. Set that off to the side. And now we can take off all the coolant lines that hook up to the intake manifold. So I just unhooked all the coolant lines that are hooked up to the intake manifold. The ones that you need to remove to be able to get the intake manifold off. And there's one that goes to the fast idle valve here from the cylinder head. And then there's one that goes from the thermostat hosing to the intake manifold here. And then there is a hose that goes to the idle air control valve off of the water pipe on the back of the block. It's actually easier just to take the idle air control valve off and just put it off to the side. So yeah, I think that's it. I also removed the LSV Tech oil line just because it was, easier to have that out of the way. And now the only thing left is to get all the bolts off of the intake manifold and slide it out. All right, so I got all the bolts off of the perimeter of the intake, and now I'm just going to remove it. Oh, we got one vacuum line I missed. There we are. She's out. Half of a motor. I'm just kidding. It's crazy how much room you get with the intake manifold off. You can get at a lot of this stuff really easily. But I wanted to make sure that I could get my intake gasket off, and it came right off, as you can see here. When I did put this gasket on, it does help a shitload when you clean the surface as best as freaking possible. You want a mirror finish when you put the gasket on. The intake gasket, head gasket, any of it. You want it to be super clean so the gasket mates well, and then it'll come right off, just like this. I'm still going to replace it, but it saves me a lot of time with cleaning the head surface and all that. So look at that. The only place it ripped at all was over by the coolant passage over here. It ripped a little bit. Right, 30 seconds later, and the CRX is supercharged. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to test fit it and make sure everything is going to fit, and it definitely doesn't. So with the supercharger installed onto the head, it looks like the throttle body area here is interfering with my heater hose, and I'm going to have to do something with this heater hose as well, because this one needs to loop onto the intake here, and the throttle body area right here is in the way. Also, I noticed that this just sits very low in the engine bay. It doesn't stick up very high. So a lot of the wiring harness and stuff has to get moved down to be able to, accommodate it. As well as this side, I haven't even installed the snout back into it, just because I want to put it in one piece at a time and make sure everything's going to fit properly. But yeah, there you go. It's going to look pretty sweet, I think. I have quite a bit to do to make it work and everything like that, so I'll probably pick up in the next video, and we will see what we can come up with and see if we can make this supercharger work and make it work in the CRX. Obviously this would be a lot easier in an EG chassis or an Integra or something like that, but we got the EF, so we're going to see if all this stuff is going to work, like I said, and if it doesn't work, we'll figure something out, hopefully. The only thing I'm going to be concerned about already is the alternator is already very, very close to the housing over here, or the frame I should say, so I just thought of that, and that sucks. I don't know if that belt's going to work or not. So, yeah, we'll have to figure something out. Hit the like button if you guys enjoy the video and you want to see this happen. If not, I might just give it back to the guy and see if I can come up with something else. I don't know. But for the time being, hit the subscribe button if you guys are new. And, like I said, we'll see if we can make this thing work or not. So, yeah. Have a good day, guys.